Hey boys, welcome back to some more Nrl Supercoach season 2025 kicking us off here at the start of the new year. I've been itching to do some discussions, bro. I've been itching to do some. I mean, the content has been lacking. The content has been lacking, honestly. Besides Supercoach, I mean, honestly, it's just I've been off gaming. I've been off gaming for a little bit. I'm sure the itch will come back to do a bit more. So I won't. I'm sure we'll be back to some other series on the channel. But Supercoach is. I love talking footy. I love talking Supercoach. And I've been wanting to put out some content. I've been sort of holding off a little bit, but I'm like, you know what? We're starting. It's going to be, I think it's like slightly less than a month now until the preseason challenge kicks off, or about pretty much a month. So I thought we'll go through position on positions and I'll give my thoughts and discussion about who I like the look of. This and that. We'll just have a nice little chat. I mean, it's a big part for myself as well. It's a good idea to just go through position on position just to get a good idea. And then once we're done the positions, then we'll probably be very close to the preseason challenge, and then all of a sudden things will spice up a little bit. We'll get a better idea of cheapies coming through, what teams are going to look like coming into round one. So it's an exciting time of the year. I mean, I'm always pumped for some footy to return, and it's going to be fast approaching. So let's go through. We're just going to go through from top to bottom. We're going to start out with the dummy halves, a very not controversial position, but a tricky position, I would say. It's been a bit of a dud position over, well, I mean, honestly, the last couple of years, dummy halves have just been a bit meh. It's sort of been Harry Grant and then the rest. I mean, if we look here, Harry Grant, even last year, Harry Grant was like, he was fine. Like, he was the one dummy half at the end of the season that definitely made people that didn't own him pay a little bit, just with a few big scores that, most other dummy halves didn't score. The only other dummy half really that had any sort of massive scores was Api Korosia. I think Korosia actually had bigger scores in general, but he definitely averaged that out with some very, very low scores. So, I mean, Harry Grant, he still was the number one dummy half. Damien Cook had a resurgent last year. I don't know what happened, but he turned back the clock a little bit, and now he is moving to the Dragons, where Jacob Little also had a peak. Jacob Little was also very good for people that picked him up. I think he was maybe like 400k, 450 at the start of the season. And he played 22 games. He's always been a bit iffy on sort of availability and injuries, but he played the good portion of the whole season and averaged 65. So, I mean, Little was very good. But now the Dragons have signed Damien Cook. So, both, you can put a line through basically both of those guys. I mean, Cook is obviously going to start. Like, they've signed him, I would imagine, for decent money. But Little, I thought Little was very good last year, so I'll be a little shocked if Little isn't on the bench as that 14. I mean, Cook is an 80-minute dummy half, so I honestly, it's a weird signing to me. I still don't really understand why they signed Damien Cook, if I'm honest with you. But we'll see how that pans out. But honestly, both those guys put a line through. They're expensive and they're going to eat each other's minutes, I would imagine. Harry Grant is still the guy. We'll have a look at prices. I'm just having a quick squiz now. It's always like, I don't like the idea of starting with Harry Grant, if I'm honest. I didn't do it last year and it worked out well. I think, you know what, let's get up what his actual scores were, because if for some reason you can't I guess because it's the team pick, you can't actually look at their stats there. That's fine. We can just go back to it'll show like last year. Because I'm pretty sure, Grant was pretty poor. Like, as you can see, he finished strong. He got a ton. So did Jacob Little, 120. But Grant, he finished on 730k. He's coming into the season a tick under 700k. So that shows that he finished pretty strongly. He had a pretty rough start to the season, really. I think he was pretty poor. What did he... Season stats. How did he go? It was pretty mediocre. He played big minutes still, but 49, 61, 63, 79. A good 3 bursts there, but again, like 60s. The 80 against the Broncos is very good, but 60 and 60, like that's not what you want when you're spending like 700k, 750k if you started with him. And then after that, it was 48, 56, a 95 thrown in there, 57, 44, a big ton there, 116. This is obviously Origin period. He was always going to score a bit lower. But then he came out of Origin. And this was, again, I probably should just... I think going into it, again, I just don't think starting with Grant is the play. He could come out of the gates and absolutely go ballistic. It could happen. It definitely could happen. He's a guy that can do it. But, I mean... From what we've seen the last couple of seasons, the point scoring is always a little bit down to start the season, and teams are just they're a little bit sluggish to work into their full array. Obviously, dummy halves are a little bit less susceptible, I guess, because they can get a lot of tries, just barred over tries, try assists close to the line, so it's not necessarily like good play that gets their big points, but I think it still factors in. But I think after Origin, that round 20, round 21, I think just try to, if you got trades to spare, if you need just a gun on the run home, I think just get Grant in for the run home. Like he went 74, 58, 119, 39 and 57. It wouldn't be great, but I mean, over the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, he scored 3 tons. So, he's the guy that can make you pay at the end of the season. I think he is the target after Origin, but I think going in again, I just can't see myself spending 700k in the dummy half spot. I like talking about tactics with the dummy half. I feel like it's definitely going to be a massive case of people going cheap, both cheap dummy halves, because of, I mean, for one, there could be a couple of good options, but I think we'll see. They could be traps, or at least one of them could be trap. For sure, but also with the flex position, you just have a little bit less to worry about, because your dummy half could score 30 or 40 as the cheapie, but he could get knocked out with the flex. So it just gives you a little bit of leeway to actually really double down on the cheapie dummy half. So I don't mind it, but I also, I mean, last year I started with Reece Robson as well. He did well for me. I probably should have bit the bullet and got rid of Robson around that Origin period for a Harry Grant, because he was the opposite. He started like a house on fire, and then he just kept tapering off and off and off, and the Cowboys just didn't back him up after Origin, and he was the opposite. If I traded him to Grant over that time, it would have been a big play, but I kept him. It was fine, but I like the idea of starting just with a solid dummy half and a cheapie, but yeah, it's just going to depend on money, because you've got to factor in with the flex position, it is an extra player you have to pick. So it is, I love the flex, but it's more money you've got to spend on another player. So you got to find cash somewhere, and the dummy halves are obviously a big potential there. So Cook, Little, no. Max Plath, I love Plath. He's still got the 2RF dual hooker role. I would imagine he's just going to... Well... Yeah, I would imagine he's going to start at lock. Obviously, Tommy Gilbert is back. Marshall King will be the dummy half. Plath was too good. I can't see a world where he wouldn't be the starting lock. But Gilbert eases off the bench. you know, he obviously was out all of last season with that ACL. And then, or Gilbert might play in the... I know he's played in the back row before. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I'm not... as much as I'd love Max Plath, like, I think this is Plath's ceiling. And again, in Supercoach, I mean, simply put, you always want to try to get guys that are value. You want to try to get guys that are potentially going to score more points than they're worth. So they either make money that you can trade, or you just get them for a bit of a bargain to start the season. And Max Plath, I love him. I think he'll be a bolter for Queensland this year. But he's going to... He was unbelievable. Like, he was unbelievable last year. Not only the base stats and the minutes, but he had tries. He had try assists. Like, he was a phenomenon. And I just can't see him scoring more. He could back it up. He could score. He could average 60 again. I wouldn't be shocked if he averaged 60 if he plays big minutes a lock again. But I don't think he's value at over 600k as much as I love him. Appy Coruscant, I thought Appy might come in a little bit cheaper. He obviously had, like I said, he had the biggest variance out of every dummy half imaginable. He had quite a few Sinming games. He had a few injury-affected games. But he also had those big 150s in him as well. So he was the roller coaster for sure. If he was a bit lower... If he was more like mid-500s, I would have been very tempted to chuck him as the starter. I think last year... Let's have a quick squiz. I think he started last year at... Like, look at that. He finished the season 540. He went off the boil. I think he came in at like 550 to start the season, if I'm remembering correctly. Or low fives. No, 570. He started great, 82 and 105. Everyone jumped on, and then 45, 60, 63. I mean, a couple of 60s, but then 36, 36, 36. Everyone would have jumped off. Well, not everyone. And then 78, 66, 75, 58, 133. Okay, he doesn't have the 150 in him, like I said, but he's had a couple of big ones. 24, 90, 27, 90. He's just so frustrating, man. Oh, he's so frustrating. I'm trying to think, is he going to go? Like, he actually kicked him all right last year. I was shocked that he was goal kicking over Caesar to start the year, but he doesn't look like a very natural kicker. But you know what? He actually slotted them not too badly. And I'm trying to... I mean... With Luai coming to the club, he's obviously not going to take over the kicking. Lockie Galvin, I don't think is a goal kicker. So, I guess Adam Dewey is going to be back fully fit. So maybe Dewey takes over the goal kicking. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't really love. I don't like the idea of going up here. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just about averages. So he can go 100 and then 20. And if you just play him, then you're going to get the decent 60 average. But, yeah, I don't know. I think there's better value elsewhere. But, I mean, if he does have the kicking, Lua at the club, there could be some more points on offer. The Tigers, I think if they are going to cause... not an upset, but if they are going to get beat some better sides and move up the ladder, I think it's got to be off their attack. I think they have to be an attacking upside side. So, I could see it if he is goal kicking. You never know. Reece Robson, as much as he was really, really solid for me last year, I am 100% not starting Reece Robson this year. I think it was a bit of an outlier to start the season. He had a couple of attacking stats. He looked really good. But I think the drop-off at the end of last year was sort of what you might expect for Robson. Just those 50s in base. So 600k for Robson. Don't love it. Going down the list, Connor Watson is very interesting. I mean, Brandon Smith is still there, though. Yeah, you know what? Not really. Because I think, from what I believe, I think Nafahu White is going to be the starting lock. I think they're persisting with Victor Radley on the edge, which honestly I wasn't a big fan of when it first happened, but the more the season went on, I actually think Radley, I think he actually suited the edge not too badly. And Nafahu White, I think, is a very, very good player. He'll be a definite point of discussion in the... Is he a dual front row forward, second row? I don't know. He'll definitely be a point of discussion in one of those forward packs. But then you've got Brandon Smith. He'll either start a dummy half or come off the bench, and that leaves Connor Watson. He'll either start or come off the bench. So as much as I love Connor Watson, it needs to be like either Brandon Smith needs to find a new club before the season starts. Because if Connor Watson was like the sole 80-minute dummy half, honestly, I'd probably just fucking slot him in. I'd probably just slot him in at a tick under 600k. He's got the upside, he's got the base, but just with the uncertainty, I don't love it. Reed Marnie, no. Jeremy Marshall-King is a very interesting one. He's definitely undervalued for what he can do. If we look at Marshall-King, let's just go price. What did he... He definitely finished low. He finished a tick over 400k. He missed a lot of footy. I think he came in like 700k to start the season, right? Or maybe... Yeah, mid 600, 640. He started pretty well. There was a couple of like the minutes. I don't know if he got a head. Like he's just one of those guys that gets head knocks and injuries. Like he just is. But 53, 80, 60, 70. You'd be pretty damn stoked. I mean, at 600k, maybe not quite, but 550 this year. If you started with like that type of scoring, you'd be happy. And then where did he miss some footy? I thought he missed more footy than this. 1, 2, 3, I'm guessing was the bye. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Missed 14. Okay, it was pretty late in the season. I thought he missed footy earlier, but yeah, around 17, I mean... Yeah, obviously, I can't remember what the injury was, but he missed a good chunk. But I thought for some reason it was earlier in the season. But the scoring was good. Like, look at the scores. 60, 70, 42, 79, 70, 52, 60, 81, 51, 90. I mean, it's pretty solid without the injury. Like, 48 is 42 is the lowest against the Bronx. And he had a couple of high scores. Like he's an attacking dummy half. It's just, I mean, maybe he's not necessarily that injury prone. I might be overselling it a little bit, but yeah, I don't know. And then obviously he came back and he only played the last 2 games for reduced minutes. Scores of 23 and 39, but he's a good player. 550 again. If he was slightly cheaper, like 500k, the 550, it's still expensive. But he's definitely one to consider if you wanted to go with a more solid starting dummy half. I don't mind it at all. Going down, Rayleigh no, Randall no, Wade Egan also. I mean, Wade Egan, also pretty interesting. Surprisingly, actually played 20 games. I thought he missed more footy than that as well. Obviously, Egan, he's done some good... I don't think I owned him at all last season, but the season before, I owned him for a few periods, and he did some good stuff for me. He's obviously, again... He's a very attack-reliant dummy half. He started the year pretty well as well, but then, yeah, he's just a head knock specialist. I don't know. I think that's the thing. I'm like, starting the season, you just don't want to have to force a trade on your dummy half with like a concussion or an injury in the first couple of weeks. Like, it's just it's a real kick in the gut. So, I mean, head knocks are random, but he is more notable than others for that. And the scoring probably doesn't quite justify it. And the other factor, the other big factor now that I just remembered is no Nrl Blake. So, as good as James Fisher-Harris is, Nrl Blake is definitely far more dangerous close to the line than Fisher-Harris. So, like, you know, Wade Egan, very clever dummy half. He can put any forward over for a try. But, yeah, no Tohu Harris or Nrl Blake now. It cuts down the potential easy 20-odd points with the try assist close to the line. So, yeah, the price is nice, but I don't love it. Don't love it. As we go down, Kenny, Verrills, Brayley, Brandon Smith is there, 400k. Walter Smoothie, De Silva. Okay, so here do we get to the cheapies. So, I mean, if we just go over it again, the more expensive guys, honestly, there's not that many I'm that keen on. Like, maybe Marshall King at 550, and then, I mean, Connor Watson, if he was going to get the big minute dummy half spot, I would like, but then maybe Arabi Coruscant. I don't know. I don't really want to spend that much, so maybe it is just the two cheapie dummy halves. I mean, I was probably going to lean that way regardless, but yeah, the cheapies are always a little bit, you know, they can be traps, but at the same time, if they're just banging out like 40 points, they could easily get a little cheeky try, assist, try. I mean, starting out with cheapies last year worked pretty well. I mean, Denny Levi was a shocker in real life footy, but he just kept scoring fucking tries, so he kept making money. And that's all they need to do. Like, they just need to make like 30 odd tackles and just get the odd attacking stats. So, alright, let's have a look at some of these cheapies on offer. So, once again, the Parramatta dummy halves are going to be a big spot. I mean, I think the good thing is, with a new coach at the club, I mean, Riles, he's not going to do the same as last year. He's not going to chop and change every couple of weeks, right? I feel like he's going to stick with the dummy half. Personally, I think Brendan Hands has been pretty good every time he's played. Like, I don't know. I think Lussick is fine, but I actually think Brendan Hands has been a pretty solid dummy half whenever he's really given the crack. So I'm predicting Brendan Hands to get the starting spot. And again, at 350k... At 350k for Brendan Hands, I think you could definitely go there again. Because what did he finished a tick under 400k. He got 100 in round 27. What the fuck? I don't remember that at all. But let's have a look like at his minutes. Let's see what he sort of scored when he had bigger minutes. So obviously started on the bench, then he worked up 48 minutes, 33 points, 80 minutes, 65, 70, 34, 66, 59. I mean, yeah, he's one of those, he's a bit of a plotter. He can definitely plod along, make 30 tackles and not run the footy and score like 30 points in decent minutes, but he does have a little bit of spark about him when he does actually run the footy. So if he's getting decent minutes, yeah, he's getting, I don't know, average of 45 plus. I'm sort of getting from that around 40, tick over 40. Finished season 68 minutes, 47, 42 points, 80 minutes, 100 points, 80. So you could definitely, I am predicting Brendan Hands. It's just a fact if Joey Lussick is on the bench or not. If Lussick is not on the bench, then I think he's a guy. I think Brendan Hands is a pretty solid choice. Tom Starling is. So Danny Levi's still there, right? I know Starling actually started playing pretty big minutes, didn't he? What did Danny Levi fit? Danny Levi ended up the season losing 500k from his starting price. That is very funny. That's very funny. I think Starling actually got pretty expensive. Tick over 400. He started playing pretty big minutes, I think. And it was sort of like, damn, we could have jumped on Starling. But he's coming in this season, again, very nicely priced, because for the first half of the year, he wasn't really playing minutes at all. He played the odd 40-minute game. I mean, when he plays 40 minutes, 32 points, 41 minutes, 32 points, 68 minutes, 52, 76 minutes, 80, 80 minutes, 62, 70, like, then he started playing, like, big, well, he had a span here of big minutes, then he dropped back to 50 and 40s, but it depends. It depends. I mean, I've sort of always thought Starling could offer a lot more than what Ricky Stewart uses him for. He's an NRL coach. He knows more than me, but it's a wait and see. I think you could definitely take the punt on a Tommy Starling if he's going to get the nod. Like, I feel like surely he does, right? Like, I'm trying to think. The Raiders haven't signed any notable, like, dummy halves. So, again, I think it's going to be out of, like, him and Levi. And, like, surely Starling's the better player. Like, right? So, I mean, again, hands Starling, definitely a close eye on both those guys. At 350k, they just have to play, like, somewhat decent minutes. And they're going to be, like, at worst, they'll score about 40 points, right? It's not the end of the world. Going down, Crossland, Lockie Croker. So it came out that Croker, I think he could be missing like the first few weeks, first month of the season with a knee issue. I think I saw. That obviously opens the way for one little cheapie potentially. Carl Lawton, Denny Levi there. I would definitely not be starting Denny Levi to start the season again. He actually was fine last year to start, but yeah, that went sour pretty quickly. Havili, Simpkin, Moser. So Moser, from reports, Moser has really impressed Maguire. I think most Broncos fans, in myself included, Billy Walters, he's done a job. He's been good at times. He's been bad at times. Moser is the future. I would love to see him just get a good crack. And I guess another guy on the watch list, if he gets some decent minutes at 300k, it's definitely a pretty good shout for potentially Blake Moser this season. It could be Moser year. Peter Mamazoulis, obviously a big talking point. He's actually in my initial team. He's probably not going to stay there. I think Mamazoulis is a bit of a trap. I think he's a bit of a trap at 300k. Obviously, Cook is gone, so there is a big minute spot open at the Rabbitohs. But I just don't see it being Mamazoulis. Like, I just don't think they really rate him, because the whole of last year, the Rabbitohs knew Cook was going, and they refused to give Mamazoulis any minutes still. I mean, I get it that Wayne Bennett wasn't the coach yet, so, like, it was a bit sort of up in the air, and we don't know. I mean, Wayne Bennett's he's going to find the guy he wants there. It could be Mamazoulis. Maybe Wayne Bennett finds something out of little Peter here. But I think the guy is actually going to be Jamie Humphries. Now, unfortunately, I don't think Humphries is dummy half eligible. I think he's only halfback. Where is he? I'll quickly have a quick squiz. Where is... Yeah, Jamie Humphries is 300k and he is halfback only. So I think Humphries is a absolute stud of a player. The Rabbitohs, he was a bit of a late signing. Did he sign at the very end of the year or after the season finished? But I can't remember exactly. But he's obviously gone to the Rabbitohs now. I think there is zero chance that Mamazoulis plays 80 minutes. So already, I don't think he's going to be great value at 300k. Again, I could be wrong, But the signing of Humphries, obviously he's come through the lower grades being a predominant halfback, but he's put on the size. He's an absolute. He's very Connor Watson-esque, I would say. Very Connor Watson-esque. He's put on some bulk. He's put on some size, and he's played more sort of through the middle now. And I think he could be a perfect little dummy half. So I really rate Jamie Humphries. We'll see in preseason challenge how that sort of weighs up. I would love to see him get like a real crack, because I can't believe this is what I was sort of confused. Last year, Manly had signed Humphries and they didn't give him a chance at all. I was losing my mind. He eventually got a game. He obviously scored a ton in Supercoach, but he was also just really solid in real NRL sense. And that's what I was trying to work out. When did the Rabbitohs sign him? Because I'm like, maybe Manly knew that he was going and that's why they didn't give him many more chances, but I just keep looking at him like, how is he not getting a crack? So going to this Rabbitohs side without really like a dummy half that seems like they rely on, I think Humphries could be the guy. So I don't know about Pete Mamazoulis. That is one to definitely keep an eye on in preseason challenge. Hopefully, I would like it if they could add Humphries as a dual dummy half. I don't know if they do that before the season though. I feel like usually their initial like starting roles are like that at the start, and then even if a player plays a different position in like the preseason, they don't change it. But we'll see. Maybe they do. I don't know. It'd be nice if they did. But yeah, regardless, let's move on. Mamazoulis, again, I think could be a bit of a trap. Who else have we got here? So Sanders Smith is obviously, I think he is the slam dunk at the moment. Sanders Smith is a slam dunk. Sammy Walker is going to be missing a good chunk of the season to start. I can't remember exactly how long, but it's definitely long enough that Sanders Smith should get some, a decent amount of potential price rises if he was ever going to. He probably goal kicks as well. Like, he's a pretty okay goal kicker, and the Roosters have lost Suoli'i, and obviously Sam Walker is out injured. Tedesco has kicked before, but not great. I'm sure they've got potentially a couple other guys that could kick, but Sanders Smith, I think, could be the goal kicker. He'll be the starting halfback. I think from memory, the games he's played halfback for 80 minutes, he's scored pretty decently. He's coming in at 240k. He's a slam dunk. He's a slam dunk. Everybody's going to have him. The big question mark is going to be, do you start him at halfback or dummy half? I think probably dummy half is going to be the spot, because halfback, I think there's a cut like Jamie Humphries. If they don't get the duel, he potentially just at halfback, he could be the cheapie sort of second halfback you start. And I think there's a couple other guys in that position that could be good value. So I think Sanders Smith, probably you're going to want to pick at dummy half, but you never know. Maybe you're slotting him at halfback, but I'm leaning towards dummy half. And I think, yeah, not much else to say. I think Sanders Smith is going to be in like everybody's team. Let's be honest. Going down the list, obviously Gordon Chen Kum Tong is sort of the little winner out of the Lockie Croker situation. But yeah, I mean, Croker not necessarily gone for that long, and also Gordon, I really like, when I first saw him, I thought, man, he could be a good player. But then the more I've seen of him, I gotta be honest, I've been a little bit underwhelmed with his dummy half skills. He's obviously a bit of a pocket rocket, so he does have the potential for Supercoach scoring, but he's pretty shocking at passing. Like, he's not, I don't think he's good enough to really cement a spot. Like, his passing is pretty shoddy. He's not great at just getting the ball off the ground nice and quickly. He's one of these dummy halves that sort of need to pick up and stand up and pass it. Like, it's just not slick. You can tell with a good dummy half how quickly the ball can go just side to side out to the players who need it. And then with not great dummy halves, the attack just really breaks down. And, you know, I'm sure he's working hard, I'm sure, but it just doesn't look naturally like a really good dummy half passer. So as much as he could be, I think he could be a bit of a trap. Like, you never know. Maybe if he does start the season at dummy half, I think he could score well in Supercoach terms just because he is that nuggety, little pocket rocket. He is a good runner from dummy half, but I wouldn't expect him to be like the long-term option. But you never know. But yeah, we'll see what happens there with Croker and Chen Kum Tong. So going down, Kurt Donahue, really solid player. I don't really know where the minutes come from though. Corey Pace, I don't think he's getting any minutes. Anyone else? Any genuine cheapies? I don't think so. So that pretty much wraps up dummy half. I think, like I said, Sandon Smith is obviously the slam dunk cheapie, and then it's just a matter of, I think Gordon is a bit of a trap, even if he gets a start the first couple of weeks. Out of your second dummy half, if you're going cheap, I think Moser, obviously keep an eye on if he gets the role, could be solid. Or Tommy Starling, Brendan Hands. All those three guys potentially. So we have we got a bit of an influx of potential cheapies that could be pretty solid. That if you want to go with the more like stock standard or more proficient dummy half to start, honestly, I don't know. Like, maybe take a punt on Coruscant. If Coruscant is confirmed kicking goals, which he definitely could be, Tigers with better attack, I don't. You could take a punt. You could take a punt on Coruscant if you wanted to spend up. Anyone else I'm not that keen on. Marshall King, maybe if he's looking fit, if he's looking fast. I don't hate Marshall King, but I think I'm, like most people, going to be leaning towards two cheap dummy halves. It just makes sense, I think, this year. But yeah, things could change. I mean, Mamazulis might not work out. Brendan Hands and Joey Lussick might share the minutes. Tommy Starling and Levi might share the minutes. Moser might not get a start. Like, we could all of a sudden find no second dummy half that you have to spend up a little bit. So we'll see what happens. But that pretty much wraps up the dummy halves. I still rambled on for long enough, but obviously it's a pretty boring position, if we're honest. It's a position that at the end of the season, you're going to want, like I said, I think after Origin, or even like if the planning works out, maybe even during Origin, you could just get in Harry Grant, even if he's going to miss a couple of games, to get ahead of the pack. But I think Harry Grant for the run home is going to be the play. Appy might surprise again. Connor Watson, if he gets the spot, but again, I don't know. I don't really know what's happening there with him and fucking Brandon Smith, but we'll find out in due time. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know what your thoughts are on dummy half. I think most people are gonna lean towards the cheapies, which I can't argue with. I think it's what I'm gonna do as well. So yeah, let me know what you guys are thinking. Make sure to like and comment. I'll see you guys in the next one.